Hello Harlem Lacrosse athletes. This is an IXL video support lesson for the, I guess you could call it C3, the bonus, the challenge part with C3. And the way that they're making this a challenge is they're going to ask you to add 3 or more integers, 3 or more of the positive and negative numbers together at the same time. When I have these problems, they make me add a bunch of integers that are positive or negative and add them all together. I think it's important to just kind of go step by step, add different pieces of the problem together to simplify it, and then ultimately you're really just doing a bunch of mini problems for what we did on the previous assignment where you add positive or negative numbers. Let me show you what I mean by that. Here I see they're asking me to add, and they give me 4 different terms or 4 numbers to add up. Positive 14, positive 9, plus negative 14, plus another negative 14. So I'm going to go ahead and give me a second to draw a bit better. I'm going to add up some of these terms together. I'm going to first take the 14 and the 9, 2 positive terms, and I'm going to combine those together. And I know that 14 plus 9 gives me a positive 23. And now I'm also, give me 1 second to change the color, I'm going to take the 2 negative terms here. That's not what I need. And I'm going to combine those two. I have a negative 14, and it's combined with another negative 14. And I know whenever I combine 2 negative terms, that I'm just going to combine them as if they were positives and keep it in the negative world. In other words, when I combine 2 negatives, they just become more negative. So if 14 plus 14 is 28, then negative 14 plus negative 14, 2 negative numbers combined together, just going to give us negative 28. So this problem simplifies to say 23 minus 28. And if we got 23 minus 28, that's going to give us some kind of negative number. I'm taking a positive 23, combining it with a negative 28. They're going to fight against each other. The negative is going to win out, so I'm going to get a negative number. And here specifically, I'm going to be getting a negative 5. I know that, how my brain did that. 28 minus 23 would make 5. So the opposite, 23 minus 28, is going to give me a negative 5. So again, the big key with this challenge assignment, I guess you could call it the third C3 bonus one, is that they're going to ultimately make you have to combine a few terms, so just break it down step by step. Here, they're giving us 3 terms, 10 plus negative 15 plus 2. I'm going to first just combine 2 of the terms. I'm going to do something a little tricky here. Actually, we'll keep it simple at first. I'm going to just go left to right. 10 plus negative 15. One option for doing this work is just to keep working left to right. So I can take 10, add negative 15, and that's going to give me a negative 5. If 15 minus 10 is 5, then 10 minus 15, or 10 plus negative 15, is going to give us a negative 5. So this problem becomes negative 5 plus 2 still. We still got to have that plus 2 in there. And that's really the same thing as 2 minus 5. One important thing I'm kind of showing you here, negative 5 plus 2, if I keep the signs attached, I could rearrange it to be 2 minus 5. And 2 minus 5 is ultimately going to give us negative 3. Okay, next problem. They're going to ask us to add 4 terms, but here's the thing. One of those terms is 0. So I could do 0 plus negative 19, but the 0 is going to have no effect. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ignore this 0. Adding 0 doesn't change anything. We don't need it there. And next up, I realize it has negative 19 plus 19. So here I'm combining a positive and negative that have the same value, so they're going to cancel each other out as well. Negative 19 plus 19 just makes 0. So ultimately I have 0 plus negative 19. So if I kind of see some of the things that cancel each other out, this all becomes 0. All that's left over here ultimately is the negative 19. We're going to show a couple more examples here. Next up, they give us 19 plus negative 16 plus 6. And I could do 19 plus negative 16. So we'll show that first here, and I think we're going to use the color blue to show one method to do this. So if I do 19 plus negative 16, that's the same thing as 19 minus 16, which gives me a positive 3. So this whole problem then becomes 3 plus 6 when we include that plus 6. And 3 plus 6 gives us 9. Another way I could have gone about this, we're going to switch over to the color red. I could have just seen two positive terms, and I am allowed to add or combine in different orders so long as I keep the signs attached to all my numbers. I can take this 19 and combine it. Oh, give me 1 second. I can take this 19 and combine it with the positive 6. 19 plus 6 is going to give me 25. And then I still have that plus negative 16 that's going on there. And this is the same thing. Remember we talked earlier, 25 plus negative 16 is really the same thing as 25 minus 16. And 25 minus 16 is going to give us 9. And so we see here either way, whether we did 3 plus 6 to get to 9 or we did 25 minus 16 to get to 9, two different ways to approach this problem, but they're both getting us to a positive 9 for an answer. I'm going to show one more example here. Thanks for waiting as I clean the screen up. Alright, and they have 7 plus negative 5 plus negative 1 plus 4. I could just go from left to right since this is the last one to make it a little more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and combine the 7. Made a mistake there. I'm going to combine the positive 7, the first term, with the other positive, with the positive 4. 7 plus 4 gives me 11. And then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to take the negative 5 and the negative 1 and I'm going to combine those together. I'm going to take this negative 5 and combine it or add it up with that negative 1. Negative 5 plus negative 1 is going to give me a negative 6. So this makes 11 minus 6, and together 11 minus 6 is going to give us positive 5. You don't have to switch orders around. I just wanted to show you, hey, you can pull and grab so long as you keep the signs attached for a lot of students as you get started. And I'll show one more example. It's just easier to work from left to right, so feel free to always just work from left to right. And I'm sorry if that confuses you a bit as I showed you other methods. Alright, so last one, we'll work it left to right. We have negative 16 plus negative 13. And so if I combine two numbers that are both negative, if I'm adding a negative plus another negative, they just combine together to go even more negative. Or in this case, they combine together to make negative 29. I still have to add that negative 8 there. I still have to take this negative 29 and add a negative 8. I think it's important to know that adding a negative number is really just the same thing as subtracting. So this is like negative 29 minus 8. You could also think of it that way. Either way, when I combine two negative numbers, the negative 29 combined with the negative 8, they're going to go deeper into the negatives. If 29 and 8 is 37, the negative 29 added with our negative 8 is going to give us negative 37. The same thing you'd get with negative 29 minus 8. Hope that's been helpful. I know this is definitely a bit new for you all as you add and subtract, or sorry, as you add with positive and negative numbers. If you need any support adding or combining when negative numbers are involved, please feel free to send me an email. As always, that email address is ddoherty3@bostonpublicschools.org. Thanks for watching towards the end of the video. It's a little too small. There we go. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Keep up the great work.